Great, great, great. My name is Peter Matthews, and I am fortunate enough to be a co-host on the most successful and popular podcast in all of the African American community, and I think almost the entire community of called the Godcast. It is a legendary podcast brought on by two legendary young men who are forging their own path and creating their own narrative for the glory of God. Our prayer is that this will be the first opportunity to do this at McKinley United Methodist Church on a regular basis. And now, without further ado, I'm going to let the host take over.
Hello.
My name is Jovan Daniels, and I heard about the Power Program.
People who have done cool stuff, and we interview them and kind of let them tell us how they got to where they're at. You know what I mean? And a lot of people got some real interesting stories, and so we kind of like to chronicle those things, and not just for the person to kind of like tell where they came from, but almost for the generations that come after them can kind of see where they came from, and how cool like their grandfather was, or their great grandfather, or however long we want to go generationally. But recently, I've been doing something a little more kind of like dear to what I like, and it's called Conscious Conversations. And my Conscious Conversations, it talks about questions that we all want to know. And we just build on philosophy and try to understand why people think whatever it is that they think, what philosophies they live by. And so I kind of just ask questions, and then it opens up a discussion, and then we kind of like break down the discussion with more questions and get deeper into how people think about why they do what they do. But to introduce myself, my name is Ahava Elian. I recently changed my name. I came to the church and, built with you guys before when my book first came out. And
Your Amazon best-selling book. Y'all give him a round of applause for that. His book is on the Amazon best-selling list.
Yeah, real stuff. But my name just means love the Most High God. I named myself that because I had a situation where I was named after the man that killed my mom, who I thought was my dad my whole life, and it's a long story. I wrote a book about it. But I felt like it gave me an opportunity to change my name and give myself a name that would have some type of positive destiny to it, or a name that I wanted to reflect and embody who I wanted to be as a person. So, like now I have to fulfill this name that we're giving ourselves, or that I've given myself. I feel like we all should be figuring out what our name means. And your name brings out a vibration. Your name equals something. And so, just a challenge to you all, study your name, see what it means. And then if you're not going in the direction as to what your name is, then it's okay for you to figure out something that you would want to do, or something that you feel like the Most High is calling you to do. And then you can start calling yourself that until you feel like this is your purpose being embodied in the direction that you want to go in. And sometimes I think that some names are divinely given. Here in our culture, I think that we don't put much thought into what we are naming our kids, but I think that it would do us well, to serve us well, to kind of like observe your child for a day or two. see the vibration that the child is giving you, or think of this purpose that you feel like the Most High is kind of like delivering to you for this child, and then figure out a name that would equal that. And I think that it would kind of like change the direction of how we going in a certain way.
Sure. Here we have this young man. He's going to tell you his real name momentarily, but his TV name, his podcast name, his name in the community where he is known widely is Peanut Johnson. Miss Harrison, Cynthia Ubayake, Peanut grew up in this church, and the only way I could get him to get communion was to have the podcast. So I got some special cups for him today to have communion. We're going to have communion momentarily. But Peanut, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so of course my name's Peanut. You know, my grandmother gave me that name before I was even born, man. Literally, my mother and my grandmother went to get an ultrasound done before I knew a gender or anything like that, and they could not find me. And then my grandmother said, "That's a little Peanut right there," right? So just to give you like another a story to kind of show that this is my name, more than anything, and that because even in high school, all the basketball coaches, all the teachers, everybody called me Peanut. But the person who obviously was announcing the graduates didn't get the memo, and he called me Curtis Johnson, and it was a ominous silence over the whole crowd. So my mother stood up and said, "Yay, Peanut!" And then everybody said, "Oh," I remember that. "Oh, Peanut." But I also want to add to what Ahava El Elyon was speaking on, because he spoke on the power of the name that you give your child. I went to a thing called Band of Brothers, where I think it should be a maturation process when you call yourself a man. It shouldn't be something that is given by age, because I got a chance to see people who were six-figure earners, people who you would look up to when it comes to stature and you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. And I saw them crying over, "My dad didn't hug me when I was 7 years old." It changed your perspective on what you call yourself a man. But one of the exercises that we took there was every name that was given to us, we got a chance to put it in the fire and burn it. And then like you may think, okay, now what does that mean? So at one point in time in my life, I was a liar. That was a name given to me. At one point in my life, I was a cheater. That name was given to me. So a lot of times when you think about the names that are given to you, you got to think about the names that also you attach to yourself, because those things right there also are things that you may not even think about so much. Like, you know, I remember like one of my friends would say, man, I'm not going to get that job. I'm a felon, right? Those type of monikers you put on yourself also put up boundaries and barriers on your life as well. So also think about canceling the names that you give yourself or the ones you listen to. My grandmother always told me, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to.
And so today, if you think of the stories that these two men have put together, their testimonies provide a wonderful segue to have a conversation about our Power Program. And you've heard me say it on church on Sunday morning. The Power Program that we have represents an opportunity to right way people into a new life of discovery, discernment, and development. What do you mean by discovery? We know that there is a no excuse policy that we have within our program. That program called No Excuse means that there are not going to be obstacles. There absolutely are going to be obstacles in your life. But what we want to do now is to continue to reach out through our Power Program and have no excuses. Before we go on just for a moment about the Power Program, I wanted director and coordinator of that initiative, Reverend Ashton Dupler, is going to come down. Can we give Ashton a round of applause as he comes in? Ashton, can you tell us a little bit about the Power Program and how it came about?
Hi. So the POW program was born out of a conversation we had with some corporations, some nonprofit partners, and some constituents here in Dayton to say, how are we going to get this money by tomorrow? How do folks in real situations in Dayton who maybe don't have a college degree or don't have the opportunity to get a job at the base, how do they get into a job that actually pays their bills? And so my experience as a forklift operator and instructor, our relationship with Procter & Gamble and their interest in helping folks in reentry find jobs, and then our partners at the Dayton Food Bank, Fifth Third Bank, and a number of other incredible partners now at the Urban League have created a space where 5 to 4 times a year for 2 weeks, The folks that you see in this room, and thank you so much for being here today, represent why we get to do this again. The way that they show up, the way that you all show up, the way that you all show up means that people get to an opportunity, not just to get a forklift certificate, but to get some money in their pocket, to get their credit pulled for free, to know where you are financially so that you can make some small business decisions if that's what you so choose to do. But it's just a way for you to not only elevate yourself, but POWER stands for positive opportunities with excellent rewards. We believe in creating a space where everybody did not come over on the same ship. As Martin Luther King said, everybody did not come over on the same ship. We are dealing with our brothers and sisters who are resettling now to Dayton, Ohio. So, but what are we going to do now that we're in this together? And you played the song earlier, Pastor. What are we going to do now that we found love? What are we going to do now that we're in this situation and we get every single quarter, if not more, the opportunity to share life together, to break bread together, but also to get a license certificate, not only in forklift operation, but soon in cybersecurity in a couple weeks, that'll allow you to access a job that'll help you make 40 to 50K a year. And so I'm grateful to our sponsors, our partners. I'm grateful to Natasha and Pastor Peter and those who helped make it possible. Mark Walker in the back, thank you so much, because it's not just myself or anyone else that allows the opportunity for now, this day, 18 people to graduate with employment opportunities. And so we don't just break bread because it's an act or it's a sign. We do it because we need to live and we need to eat. And so I'm very excited that we get to eat together afterwards today, and I'm very excited that we get to eat and put some money in your pocket as well. So that's my spiel, my shtick. Thank you for letting me borrow your mic. I appreciate you.
No, Peanut's rolling eyes in the back of his head because he has not had communion in decades.
True.
And so we are creating opportunities for people who've ever felt like they did not have a place to belong in the church, that there's a place that's love, where it's hope, and restoration can be met in real time. Now, we've done this. You see this T-shirt that I have on, and people always are calling me all over the world about where'd you get these crazy T-shirts from. This T-shirt is made by this man right here who owns the world-renowned T-shirt Kings on Main Street. People say T-shirts, and I'm not going to put your business in the street, but this man did more than $1 million in sales last year because he's meeting a niche need, and he's living into the possibilities and dreams of other people. And so you never know who you're looking at when you're looking at them. And so today, when we offer up this podcast and this conversation, we want to provide an opportunity for people to be real. Now, when we have this podcast conversation at the T-shirt place, which also doubles as your studio, we get a little riety, a little raucousy.
Absolutely.
But we can keep it the same way. Just don't get Miss Harrison or Miss Subayake, don't get me in trouble for being too crazy on the podcast. But here is an opportunity they're going to ask us some questions. We're going to talk about not just God, but church. We're going to also have an opportunity to hear some questions from the floor. And then we're going to have Ashton celebrate these beautiful people that we're looking at right now. Go for it.
Let's talk about. Let's go with life. Is life supposed to be fun?
Supposed to be what?
Fun.
I would think so. I feel like the emotions that we get, that we have, are inherent of calls in life sometimes. Like, if you touch a hot stove, you get the burning sensation of it being hot, right? So the opposite effect of you being out there in the sun and that beautiful sun is kissing all over your skin, it feel good. So, yeah, you both enjoy it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either, Peanut. I think that there are stages in life where you find fun, but I think there are a lot more stages in life where you learn about joy. And that there is a difference between having fun and finding joy. And I think the notion of what we're supposed to do in finding joy is the maturation of getting in line with what your purpose is, that you might find some internal sense of contentment. It might not always be fun, but you'll find yourself where you need to be. Y'all, they rolling their eyes at me
Well,
already.
I
Here we
disagree.
go. Here we go.
I
Wait,
vividly
hold on,
disagree.
hold
Here we
on,
go,
hold
here we
on.
go.
Well, see, I want to get to my point in asking this question.
So you got a point in asking. You can't just ask the question.
Never.
No,
That was a
it's
back-ended
always-
question.
He
so
does
he
this
said
all the
that-
I just wanted to hear what people think, and I mean, also for anybody that wants to say something or have a
Ashton,
turn, don't
she's got a
stand up and chop it up with us.
Yeah.
There's a question already in the back, right there.
Okay, but what do we know that our purpose should be? I mean, does anybody in here, you might have a career, okay? But do you always feel like you are living your highest positive purpose in life? If we poll the room and say, is this what you're supposed to be doing? Like, what are you supposed to be doing with your life? What are you supposed to be doing with your life?
Exactly what I'm doing today. I'm rooted in my purpose, honestly. I didn't know what my purpose was until we sat down with
Ryan McLean.
Ryan McLean. And at that point in my life, I would just
And
kinda-
when was this? When did we sit down with Ryan McLean?
that was almost 2 years ago. So the latter part of my life, no, I was living in just impulse. And
And
things
so
that I
you
thought,
sat down with Ryan McLean for
2
an
hours.
hour.
Yeah.
But the section that you got from her was 10 seconds, and that's when you found out what you were supposed to be doing in your life?
Well, for instance, right? So, like, I believe in confirmation, right? So, I probably was already feeling this way, but that word of confirmation is what solidified for me. Because, for instance, if two people tell you the same thing, don't know each other, it's generally the truth. If I tell you, don't be
That's
speak.
not true.
Okay, so for instance, if I told you to do something that I think would be beneficial to you, and a complete stranger potentially said the same thing to you who I have no connection
But
with,
people tell
that's
you
the
to
rule of
do
thumb.
stuff based on societal norms. So if it's customary in a society for somebody to say, this is the way that we do things, and then somebody else that's a part of that same social thinking, then they're going to tell you the same thing, which could be completely out of line if you went somewhere else. Or they like let's take a Bible scripture or a Bible concept, if it's not an indeed scripture, where it says the gates of hell will be wide, but the gates of heaven will be narrow. That means the majority of people are going to act and tell you to do one thing, but it's the wrong way to go.
Okay, like I agree with you if I stopped at the moment she told me this is what I should do. That I took
What is
that.
your
Wait,
purpose?
wait.
Tell them your purpose before you go on about
all right,
finding.
all right.
What's your purpose?
So, for instance, I believe in certain things are genetically inherited in your family, right? There are people in your family right now who were artists, musicians, and that baby will come out being an artist, a musician. The same way in my lineage, my grandmother was a community builder, a person who literally could literally split that fish and feed 1,000 people off of it. I've seen her do it at Panera Bread. So what I'm doing is following that same lineage, that same course of action that was successful, and she made a meaningful impact. And that is what I'm rooted in, my purpose. And I'm telling you, and then like the second part of what I was saying was, it'd be okay. I will agree with you if I only took what she said to me in that moment and I took that for face value. But again, I go off confirmation. The moment I stepped into those big shoes, I realized they fit so well, I didn't want to put another pair of shoes on again.
Okay, so you got a question? Come on.
Tell us your name, honey, so everybody can see you.
Margaret Wilson.
Okay, come on.
Hi. I have 6 children. I had 6 children. I have 5 now. My oldest daughter's name is Zuri Eusi Binti Wamafame. And that means beautiful black princess. My other daughter is Fikirisha Kilaki too. Innocent one that thinks they know everything. And she do.
What's it mean again? Let her grab the mic so we can put it close to her mouth. Go ahead.
Fikirisha Kila Kitu.
What's it mean?
That's innocent one to know everything.
Innocent one to know everything?
Yes.
Okay, so do you see these attributes that you're naming your children actually play out in how they behave and how they act?
Yeah. Now, I have another daughter. Her name is Tinanya Marquise Kulinda.
Mm-hmm.
My other daughter's name is Ayana Late. That's Black Queen from another Nigeria out there.
Mm-hmm.
My boys, I have twins.
Oh.
One is Jakinde Tairo and Rakesh Taabu. I made up the Tairo, I made up Jakinde, but I found a name. First twin is Tairo. Second twin is Ray Taabu. That's second twin.
Yeah, I like the fact that you took time to just figure out meanings and give those to your kids. I think that that's really important. But I don't want to, hold on, I don't want to get moved too far away from where we were going. Now, there's two different purposes. There is a purpose that you feel in your heart that you should be doing, and I agree. We all could know that purpose, and it kind of plays out in our careers and our contribution to the community. Okay, pastor leading his congregation, giving them instruction, but there's also probably a more divine purpose that we feel like that we should be doing collectively as the human family, moving the human family towards one particular goal or another, and trying to figure out what that purpose is.
Yeah, I think, I'm in the sanctuary, I run through a scripture. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light so shine before men and women that they may see your good works and glorify your Father that is in heaven." So ultimately, there are many derivatives of things that we could be doing, but I think our purpose should be in line that ultimately it points back into direction of our Father that's in heaven. So I think that there are many roads that lead there, but I think ultimately what we're supposed to be about is to live in such a way, whether we are street sweepers, whether we're teachers, whether we're politicians, is to live in such a way that people get a glimpse of what heaven feels and feels like as a result of your doing that. The problem is, I think that a lot of people misalign their purpose with their responsibilities. Just because you're doing your responsibilities or fulfilling what you're supposed to do doesn't mean that you're in line with your purpose.
Is the purpose of man simply to worship God?
Look, you see Peanut handing me the microphone. He didn't want no part of that question. Tamara, help him out, Tamara. No, I don't think it's nowhere in the New Testament where you find, and Deb and I will talk about this later, where you see Jesus was actually asking people to worship him. Jesus was asking people to follow him. And the rate of which we follow him means that it takes us on some very interesting courseworks that have you feeling as if you're sometimes out there by yourself. Let me just say this real quickly.
Okay.
We are doing a class where we're having a serious conversation about faith and mental health. Serious conversation about faith and mental health. And I think this is important for some of our power graduates today, because there is one circle that allows you to really be familiar with your family. You really got to know how trifling your family is. You got to really be in touch with how crazy your family is. Because if you're not in touch with that, you're wondering why these habits and these negative emotions keep coming back. The other circle that overlaps with that is not just to be familiar with your family, but how those things make you feel familiar with your vulnerabilities. Where are you fragile? The men in my family were very insecure. That's why they always act like they know everything. The women in my family were very controlling. That's why they ain't got nothing. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. I ain't here by myself. And then that last circle is, how do you listen to your own soul, right? And so when all this chatter is going on all the time, you've got to really kind of live into that tension where you're actually listening to your soul. And your soul might take you on some very dangerous paths. And you'll find out it's going to cause you to start a business. It's going to cause you to, but you've got to be able to live in that, I feel like, you've got to be able to live in that tension in such a way where you're able to move beyond those things that you find in your family or even your own fragility that make you fall. Because your soul is leading you to an honest and real place that your family would never lead you to.
And like that's what I was trying to get at when I was talking about, where I'll get these small breadcrumbs that I know I'm on the right track. I'm a firm believer. And like, for instance, anybody ever had deja vu? Right? To me, I feel like that's a glimpse.
What's her name? Where's she from?
I know a deja vu. Don't get me started. We in the wrong place talking about. I joke, I kid. But what I'm saying is, like to me, like that be those little checkpoints to where you know you're on the right path or not. And I truly feel that I'm walking in my purpose because I'm getting the confirmation every time I hit those checkpoints. And I can understand that someone else may feel that maybe, from their experience of, what am I doing? Where am I at? Who am I? All these different things that someone may potentially feel about themselves. I remember Keith Wren, which was my mentor when it came to stocks, and I asked him how come he doesn't question, religion and things of that nature, of things that are documented facts. I asked him this type of stuff. And honestly, like, these were some of the things that kept me up at night and kept me out this pew here. Like I said, I was baptized here. And he looked me in the face and said, you know what, sometimes it's easier just to believe what you believe and keep it moving. And that's what I feel like when it comes to my purpose. Like, if I got to go back and check if my car got an engine in, I'll never get it started. I just got to trust that it's in there. And
I would think, and I would say, what faith does is remind you that you got to make sure that engine's not just in the car, but that engine also need an oil change. Yeah. How many people have had pretty cars that had the engine rot out because you didn't get the oil changed? That engine can sit there and your car can be pretty, but if that oil doesn't get changed, you're in bad shape. It'd just be a car sitting there being pretty. And so I think one of the things that you all are saying, and I think why we want to have this conversation with these beautiful people who are power recipients is because we have to let people know that it's never too late for the Creator to untap your purpose. It's never, ever, 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 never too late. And what this opportunity is providing you is the opportunity not just to see yourself, but to reimagine yourself on behalf of the Creator in front of the world.
Okay, I got another topic for us.
Okay, all right.
Now,
There
this
the
topic.
God Marlon Shackelford. What's up, Shaq?
Shaq, no, where do you think
There
you're
go the
going?
guy. Good to
Where
see
you,
you,
what are you
brother.
doing? Don't
Yeah.
you do that.
I saw that stomach coming around the corner. I love you, man. I love you, man. I got one too.
Listen,
I'm hiding mine. I love you, Shaq.
I'm packing this place out right now, bro. We got B-Nut in here, Phil, his
Oh,
wife,
man.
Shaq.
You said you doing this. See, that's
Yeah,
what
this
I'm
is
saying.
on me.
He didn't mean that, guy. He didn't mean that. He taking credit for that. Go ahead, man.
Taking
Go
credit
ahead,
for
man.
this right
Go
now.
ahead. Go ahead. What's the topic, man?
Okay, so another very interesting topic
okay.
is what's it called when you think of something but you don't do it? Transcend if Christ said if you even look at a woman and think of adultery, then it's the same as you committing the act.
Yes.
Transgression of sin? No.
Transgression is a sin.
Transgression is a sin, but there's a particular type of sin that you don't have to commit the act, but simply thinking of it is equally as bad.
Omission?
Sin of omission, is that it? Okay. I thought it was called something else, but the point is this. If you want to do something, right? You want to do something, or let's say that you behave good, simply to go to heaven. Is that good?
No.
Like, if you only do good deeds in order for the reward, but not because you want to do these good things in your heart, does it still get counted as good that you actually avoided the bad thing?
I want to say no, because, for instance, the only person for instance, representation is important on all levels, right? if I'm a person that is holier than thou, I can't help my bro being out in the streets. You feel me? It's like the negative aspects or the choices I make is going to pepper me in a place where I can get to them cracks and crevices that someone who never sinned could ever get.
So you mean to tell me if I do good because I want a reward, but the good is still to get done? So, for example, if Pastor Pete feeds everybody in the community does, in fact, eat, but if he does it because he wants to be rewarded and go to heaven for it, the people that got fed still isn't good? That's not good?
No, here's the thing that I think is interesting, and this is why we've ostracized so many people from church, the body of church, is because we participate in transactional behaviors, right? You do this to get that. You do this to do that. I don't believe that God works like that. God's more interested in a relationship with you than what you do. And that's the determination. There's a scripture that says, from your heart so your soul lieth. So part of what we're talking about is gathering people in enough relationships so that they can feel the divine and then act accordingly. I don't believe that there is an old white man or an old black man sitting on the throne saying, you did this, can't do that. You did this, you can't do that. Scripture reminds us that God is spirit, right? And that spirit that lives inside of each of us propels us to be in more authentic relationships. What happens to a lot of us is we have been so traumatized by not doing the right things, we find ourselves on the other side of what God's intentions are all along. So if you're poor, if you're black, if you're gay, or you're straight, you're always trying to get up to some kind of, how do I say it, some kind of stature, well, moral cachet or a stature that's easily unattainable. And I think there's a lot of religions that practice living in guilt, and guilt is not liberating, right?
Does anybody really do anything for no reward in their heart? In their heart.
No, I think that we could talk about the theology of the notion of Jesus.
When you're doing good, you know you're doing good.
I do one story about the guy who he was called, to him, he wanted to help the lady at the church out, and then he ended up having an accident.
Oh, yeah. Now that's...
Come on, we here now.
I thought that the story was weird.
Come on, give it up.
Well, there was a guy, they said that... Oh, okay. Now, a guy left church to go take one of the members of the church to the grocery store. And when he took her to the grocery store, he went and bought all these groceries, and then when he was backing out of the driveway, he ran over her 2-year-old child. Well, they said that, I guess they're drawing this conclusion that happened to him because God didn't tell him to go get the groceries. Now, does that sound right to anybody? It didn't sound right to me either, but there was a bro that was like deeply rooted in the church and told me that that's how we should interpret that story. Does that sound right to you?
No, I think there's a lot of causal effects, and people have used guilt and religion to move into other people's lives and dominate people for centuries. But at the essence of it, God is love. And speaking of love, Ashton wants to talk a little bit about something.
Sorry about that. I'm learning some tech wisdom. If I want to show some love to our Power graduates.
Sure.
And so as we transition to that, I want you to check out this video of them not only learning a new skill, but learning a new way. And I want to invite all of those who have graduated from the Power program, if you could just come down here to this front two pews so we can show you some love today. Check this video out.
Clap for them right now, y'all.
Yeah, go ahead and clap them up as they come on up.
That's a great thing, y'all. Definitely a great thing.
Check this video out of you all graduating in success this week.
Give it up for Ashton one more time.
Thank you so much. If you were a Power graduate in that video, why don't you go ahead and stand up and just raise your hands for me. Just stand up and raise your hands if you can. Just go ahead, stand up, raise your hands. Now, y'all, that means that they drove around on some heavy equipment and they have all of their limbs still intact, folks. They have all their limbs still intact. Not only that, they did a fantastic job. These certificates are well-deserved and well-earned. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you today as we begin to just honor you with the celebration meal downstairs, love on you, and show you some love, not only with this certificate, but by shouting you out. And so I'm going to go one by one. And if you want to come up here and take this certificate, we want to celebrate you today. So I'm going to ask for Munye Lambert. Come on down, Munye. Thanks, Munye. Congratulations. Let's give it up for Munye one more time. I want to shout out a person who kept me joyous every single day, and that's Marta Lucia Saavedra Montoya. Come on down, friend. Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations. I want to celebrate this young lady who has done more than just earn a forklift certificate today and this last 2 weeks. Taziana Core, come on down, sister. You're fine, you're fine.
She wants a picture with you right here.
Perfect. Come on. Give it up for Taziana one more time. Can I have Lonnie Coffee come on down, sir? Congratulations, Lonnie. Congratulations, man. Good work, good work. Now, I temporarily hired this person because I needed some desperate help translating for Marta. Can I give it up for Jorge Lopez? Jorge! Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Now, this young lady not only brought her whole self, but brought her whole crew today. Can we give it up for Latanda Cobbins? Latanda, come on down. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now, this person kept me on my toes every single day. Can I have show some love for Ndidi Akizwe? Come on, Ndidi. Congratulations. Congratulations. And last but surely not least in our group today, stay up here, friend. Stay up here, friend. Don't leave now. We need one more picture before we go. Can I get Daniel Poling to come on down? Come on down, Daniel. We want to say congratulations to each and every one of you for the accomplishment that you had this week. It's not just the video on the screen or just a certificate in your hand. We want you to eat with us. So directly following, come on downstairs. The food is ready. It's hot. It's ready to go. So we want to celebrate you all and celebrate with you downstairs right now. So just go ahead and go on downstairs if you're with us for the Power Program.
Can you all, can everybody just stand up for just 1 second? Just stand up for 1 second. Can you turn around so your back is to me? Now point to the camera lady up there, Natasha. She just finished her first consulting gig with Ashton. Let's say thank you, Natasha. Thank you so much. God, we thank you for this food and this opportunity and this fellowship consecrated for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Dig in, y'all.
You gotta put me in that post earlier, man. You gotta put me in the post earlier. He was at me in the post. He was like, how do you know? Look, whenever he say, how do you know? He got you in the post. How do you know your purpose? I'm like, knock the ball out.
I think that what you're finding is in life is just what we're talking about now. How do we do life together? And doing life together, you find that, like in this sanctuary right now, you've got people that speak different languages, you've got people of different colors and ethnicities, you've got people of different sexual orientations, you've got people from different countries who are trying to find out what their purpose is. And I think what it is incumbent upon churches or other institutions is to how do we create opportunities for people to come in to hear the voice of God in their life. And we do that. How do we do that? If we got to, I think we're the only job program in the city that actually pays people while they're doing their training, because you don't want to leave your job or leave another opportunity and not get paid while you're doing that. We're starting to have child care opportunities that people should not have to leave their children to do that. And so the people that were just in this sanctuary represent the cross-section of people from Dayton who even have different religious beliefs that allow them to kind of come into that purpose. So I really thank you all for allowing us to hold court and be present to those people as they're finding out that God's not finished with them yet. I think that's ultimately the purpose of not just any church, but ultimately any people who said that they've been touched by the Creator, is to generate opportunities so other people feel that touch as well.
Absolutely. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's a difference between, you know, accomplishing goals, doing things for the metrics, and when you truly care about something. Because you wouldn't add in the extra, you know, additives if you didn't truly care, right? If you only want them to go get a job, then you can just tell somebody, go get a job. But when you put in the framework to make sure they are successful, it shows you truly do care. Because child care, getting paid while you training, that's unheard of in the private sector.
Go for it.
Well,
He about to say something wild. I can feel it.
yeah,
He about to
because
say
guess
something wild. This is my
what?
guy.
Listen, check this out.
You see how
Come
he
on.
waited?
Bro,
He waited till all the church mamas left to get wild.
Well, hold on, this is what I was about to say.
I just want y'all to know on the
Yeah.
broadcast, he waited till all the
waited
church
till they
mamas
left.
left
He didn't want no
to
smoke.
get wild.
Let me tell you what I was
He
about to
want no
say.
smoke.
Listen.
He want no smoke.
I get rich and bougie real quick. I wanted to, now everybody left, I don't even want to do the podcast no more. But I'm normally doing the podcast in a studio with just us, but now I got a taste of all these people being
That's
present
what
while
I'm
we was
saying,
doing
but
it.
that's what
Yeah.
I've
I
been
don't even
trying
want to
to
do it
tell
no
you.
more. I don't even want to, I'm done. I'm ready to go eat downstairs now. What are we doing? We still just in here talking to each other?
Okay, well, let's go downstairs and eat, and next month we'll do it live.
Yes.
Said he get rich and
We'll
bougie
see
real
y'all
quick.
next
Man, we
month.
gon'
We don't
pack this
create a
thing out.
situation. I've been
Yeah.
trying to tell y'all
Yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
months that
We'll
this
pack it
should
out.
be a live studio audience where
Yeah.
you get a cross-section of people.
I debate that I told
Yeah.
you. I told you that.
Hey, the
All
funny
good ideas go
Oh,
to
man.
me.
Hey, the funny thing you said was just like, look at everybody I brought in here today. He even brought the graduates, according
He
to
said,
him.
look at who I brought in. I'm saying, please, Lord, don't strike him down. I'm going to get Miss Harrison. See Miss Harrison looking at, she ain't playing with you.
Hey, Miss Harrison
Miss
not
Harrison's
playing.
not playing
How
with
you
you.
doing, Miss Harrison?
No, what I'm saying is the city of Dayton, I'm not a politician, but the city of Dayton does not have a touch point. Let me say it this way. Darren Bell is our director of worship, and Darren Bell is the forerunner, the founder of the Dayton Funk All-Stars. So he didn't know I was coming to their last concert at Levitt's Pavilion. When I got down there, it was black, white, rich, poor, gay, straight, homeless people, everybody. And I saw my people up there, man, I just started crying uncontrollably. Now, Darren, who was had just brought 3 white boys into the horn section, out of nowhere, he grabs the 3 horn players and puts the microphone there that they begin to amplify their music, right? And what I'm saying that not just the church, but what we ought to be about is creating spaces where we amplify other people's voices,
Yes.
other people's backgrounds.
Yeah.
We don't do that because there are too many people and too many egos. But I've been telling you for a long time, this should be the space where there's a cross-section of ideas. If you want to get some commercials, if you want to get some music bands or whatever, where everybody comes together, man.
Yeah.
But for so long, people have been put off by what we call as denominations, or
Agreed.
skin color, all that other kind of stuff, as opposed to just that gap. I'm telling you, when I saw these homeless people dancing with these rich people that were dancing with the other people, it's undescribable. And we know the formula, right? People like to eat. People like to have a good time.
Yeah.
People like to laugh, and can we begin to create those environments where people aren't threatened by other people's exteriors?
They want those moments of fun.
Absolutely.
Because
Well,
the
enjoy.
majority
Enjoy.
but the majority of your life is working on whatever it is you're trying to obtain, waiting for progress, waiting for the accomplishment of a goal. And when you're going through the progress or process, it's almost like, I just want to get to where I'm going, And so when you can get to those moments of, I'm cool, I'm not really on the process right now, I'm not really doing da-da-da-da-da, and you can come together with people and then kind of like shed all of that stuff, that's when you're having those moments of fun. But the overwhelming part of life is definitely work.
Well,
and
but
you're not just physically laboring, just working on something.
What about taking time
But-
to smell the flowers?
Yeah,
But
but
the time that you take is a moment compared to the overall day. Like you're working, but take that moment. And so if we judging like based on proportionally,
I'm having
is-
fun
is
right
tough.
now.
I think this, and I think Reverend Deb, you want to say something? Give her the mic a little bit.
I said work is play, and it's because we have missed the definition of play. Play is when we use the creative process, and God is creating in the midst of that when we use our own creative process. And so sometimes if we retool our mind to think that this work we're doing is also play because it's creative.
Oh, definitely. A lot of things are perspective.
Great
It
point.
is. Well, one thing that we kind of flipped the switch on is I don't gotta go to work. I get to go to work. And if you reposition yourself somewhere else, somebody would be overjoyed to do whatever it is that you're doing in life, especially if they're in a hospital or something. So it does take a tweaking of the perspective in order to see work as play. Like especially with Pastor or Peanut or myself, we actually create our work environment.
Yeah.
Like we own our own businesses. I got TVs everywhere. I got a podcast studio. Okay. But the thing about work that makes it work is you have to do it.
Yes.
You get to do it if you want to tweak the perspective, but just your initial way of thinking, like you have to elevate your mindset in order to get to the place where you're at, in order for you to say, I get work is play, this is creating, this is this, that, and the third. You're right when you're at a higher conscious or way of thinking, but for the most part, for the average person, they haven't matured to the level of thinking to understand that.
Whistle while you work.
Yeah,
So
but
people having fun while they working. That's on the basic level. I mean, like even when it was slavery, people was out there singing while they was picking cotton.
It is.
I
but-
think there's something to be said about enjoy. There's something about the reframing where you are and what you're doing to allow you to enjoy the process. Because I tell you, I've accomplished a couple of things in my life, and I wish I had enjoyed the road to get there. Because once I got there, it wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm saying that the reframing that's going on currently for me, it gets harder because you get older. I don't have the same father figures. I don't have the same mentors, and I get in some boxing matches with God sometimes because I want to celebrate with some people that aren't here right now. So I've got to be more conscientious about my interactions. People will tell you I go out of my way to be around you all because you all feed me in ways that I'm not being fed in my current reality. So even though I'm providing joy and living in love and convening spaces, sometimes I just need to see him, right? I need to see you.
Yeah.
And how do we create those kind of spaces where not only do we laugh, but we get to love on each other at the same time.
Right.
And, but it takes work to do it because y'all hard to get in touch with. I send y'all text messages, y'all don't respond.
Oh, come on
I be
now.
reaching out to y'all. It's hard to get up with y'all.
We call Big Cap on you.
I tried to call you a couple times. You was in Africa.
Hey, look.
You was in,
Hey, look.
It's hard to get up with
was
y'all.
you in Switzerland?
It's hard to get up with
wait,
y'all.
wait.
So
Come on, bro.
He
I
just
be
said-
all,
nah,
you
wait,
got
wait.
me all needy and vulnerable.
I'm not gonna let him get
and
away
then
with
I can't
this.
find y'all.
I'm not gonna get away
nowhere.
with this. Every day for about a good 4 months, he sent us scriptures with music attached to it. Beautiful way to wake up every morning. And then what happened to that?
It felt like work.
It wasn't fun no more.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially sending out, he done put together these masterful scripture prayer texts, and you don't respond. He tired of that.
Man, I always loved it.
For those who are watching, we have a
Group
consultant
chat.
a consulting agency called the Global Village, and we would send out for about 100 days scriptures and prayers that attach to songs with about 1,000 people. But man, my thumbs got tired of doing all that, so I need to upgrade the
He
process.
did it 99 days with us. It wasn't 100.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Let me
Hey,
introduce
we
you
need
to
to-
Chat
we need-
GPT. That'll
We
get you
need to
together.
figure out how we can do that so we can continue to do it so it doesn't feel like work.
I
And
really
here-
did find inspiration. I ain't gonna lie,
no,
man.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
I think one of the things that we have to be very honest and transparent about is that we are human.
Yeah.
I think when you don't allow people their humanity is when they seem stifled more than anything. Deb, I was talking about that today in my sermon, is that the reason we don't get let me say this real quick. I'm not going to re-preach the sermon. But everybody talks about the prodigal son that came back to the father, blah, blah, blah. You heard that before. But no one ever talks about why he left. Yeah, why? Yeah, he
Wow.
Yeah. So the fact that he left is, we got a lot of people that leave and we don't talk about that. People get tired of, being in spaces and places where they're not made to feel equal, where their nose are put down on other people, where they're cast aside. We don't need that anymore.
I call my baby mama real quick, man. I need you to read the scripture to her real quick.
You need
Yeah,
the
you need to
scripture.
read the scripture to her.
Why she left?
Well,
No,
while she left, here we go.
Hey.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we
Me with
go.
the track shoes
The
on.
prodigal baby mama.
The prodigal baby
That'll
mama's
preach.
crazy.
That'll preach. That'll preach.
She left. When she came back, we was a little happy.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
appreciated her a little more.
Yeah.
No, I just think that there are all these spaces and places, both in church and other places, where we don't provide enough love, right? And I'm talking about not this emotional kind of sappy love. I'm saying that I see you right where you are, and I'm just happy to see you.
Yeah.
But it is. It's messy and it takes work.
Yes.
It's messy and it takes work. But I think the flip side of that is how do we, as humans, flawed humans, create the opportunity to still not just find love, but to receive love too.
Well,
Because love be staring you in your face sometimes,
Man.
and
Alright.
you don't want nothing to do with
I
it.
think you
this,
got me
let's
right
let's
there.
close
Look.
on this one, but this is a hard one.
Okay, all right. Because there's some chicken downstairs, and the preacher got to get it.
You wanna well,
Go ahead.
let's
Go
let's
ahead.
do this
Go
one
ahead.
next time then.
No, go ahead, ask it.
One last
Well,
one,
it
yeah.
comes on the heel of the statement that love is messy.
Mm.
The question is it possible to get physical with your spouse because you love them?
Such as, like, put your hands on them?
Yes.
No.
No way. There's no excuse to put your hands on nobody.
Well, I think the thing that about
I mean,
I think that here's the thing that talks about, and we
Wait.
I don't know, no,
we
this is
can't
all
go
another
too
goodness.
far for him saying.
No,
Wait a
no.
minute. What
I
you
think
mean,
that
Ava?
no, I think that, and I think there.
It's
there's-
okay to.
I think
it's
there.
not, it's okay, but I'm saying, is there a reason?
No.
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 Oh man, I don't know.
No, and
Because I think women. So is it okay for a woman
No.
to act?
no.
if she finds out her man was cheating and she has a moment of enrage and says, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," and starts
Here's the
hitting him on
thing.
his chest
Here's the thing
with
we
her
know to be.
hands,
Look,
is that
here's
is that
here's the
acceptable?
thing we know to be true. Here's the thing we know to be true.
You accept that?
No,
Will
no.
I accept that?
No, no, no.
Listen,
Here's the thing we know to be true.
My mother did not tolerate it. I'm not tolerating it. I will not let no woman put their hands on me at all. I'm not. I treat the same way a
Can you
female would be.
understand her doing that?
I will
and
be
it wouldn't be looked
no.
at as bad
No,
as a man.
I will
hitting
be
a woman.
offended to feel like you do not respect me at all if you put your hands on me.
After
But-
you just did her dirty. And
No,
wrong.
but I think what we're not
My body,
allowing-
my choice.
We're not allowing room for is that there are triggers that have caused the people to come outside their character and do things they would not normally do. Let me
Exactly.
finish, but that's
Yeah.
not what you said, though. You're trying to be controversial. What I'm trying to say here is that, let me give you an example. There is a woman at the school that we serve at Roosevelt Elementary School. There's opportunity.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying. This woman had 4 kids. All of these kids were under the age of 10. One day she came home and snapped and beat 2 of those kids, right? And those kids were instantly, she taken out the house and she was removed from those children's lives. It's not that she didn't love those kids. She had a bad day and she snapped. And that moment that she snapped caused a tail-end cycle that would affect those kids from generations. I'm saying that there are always some external influences that push against your character. And as they push against your character, as you get older, you've got to always weigh the consequences of your behavior.
What about spanking kids?
Spare the rod, spoil the child. I think those things ring
But
true
are
for
you
life.
whooping the children because you love them and want a better future for them and you want them to respect consequence?
I see where you're going.
No.
He got you in the post.
No,
Do people whoop their children because they love them?
I think now, as a person that has been whooped and whooped my kids and now have evolved away from that, I don't do that. I was just inflicting.
I don't do it anymore either, but in the moment you were doing it,
I was-
did you do it out of love?
I did it as a trauma-induced form of love. I do that because that's how I was raised. That's
getting
what
technical.
I was taught. No. Now here's the thing. Now look,
on.
He know he in the post.
Those
He know he in the
who are watching on the broadcast, they always say I'm able to skirt through issues.
The best
and that-
tap dance you ever seen
They
in
say
your
I
life.
tap dance, baby, don't answer the
Man.
question directly. What I'm saying is, I whooped my kids because I was whooped and I was responding out of the trauma-induced things that happened. And I still have this anxiety and tension between my sons because
Me
of the
too.
way I behave.
Me
Let me
too,
tell you
big
something.
bro.
I
Bro,
was so
same thing.
crazy back in my day. I hung a belt on my son's mirror. Now, where did that come from? Those were the triggers that how I was raised, right? Let me finish this. Let me just finish
No,
this.
go ahead.
I did this to one of my children because they were having problems with their bladder relative to bedwetting and all that kind of stuff back in the day. We then discovered that one of our children had a rare issue with his bladder where he had a phantom bladder. And when we did that corrective surgery, it stopped like that.
Yeah.
So I was acting out in emotions, I was acting out in trigger responses, and I lost a part of my son because I didn't do the deeper investigation to see what's at the root cause. Now, I'm still apologizing to him, still working things out because I did not take the time to do the investigation. So when I say love is messy, when Reverend Deb said love is messy, that means it is messy for you to go inside of yourself to see how your responses are being generated and behaviors are on other people.
And
It's
I
not
brought my
just-
son to you for counseling for similar reasons.
Right.
Me and my son sat with you. For
Was that helpful?
Definitely was.
He should have wore you out. He should have beat you. I should have told him. Go ahead, man.
But no.
Because he's bigger than you. He should have beat up on. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
Right, but you, I mean,
He in the
point-
church. That's why he ain't saying what he
Oh,
thinking.
yeah. We know what he said on the.
No.
No
I'm
way,
just-
man.
I'm
Go ahead,
saying
proceed.
now, I think that I disagree with whooping children and this, that, and the third now too because of we see the effects of it.
Absolutely.
But the time that I was whooping my son, or any parent for that matter, like right now currently, it's a kid getting beat because the parent thinks that they're saving their child from doing something in the future, and they want them to respect consequence, because like they like, if I don't whoop you now, later you'll be in jail, the police gonna get you.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, with love, it does get messy, especially inside, like you said, but also outside. And then if we do say, okay, there could be a time that somebody could be so far in love that they would act out of character and do something that they don't think is right, or that they'll be sorry for it later. Is that person eligible for forgiveness?
Yeah, I think everybody's eligible for forgiveness, but here's the thing. Hurt people hurt people. Every time, every day, hurt people hurt people. And what I'm trying to get my sons and those who I've hurt, based on not just physical abuse, but emotional abuse and verbal abuse, is to know that I'm a broken crayon that can still color. And as broken as I am, I try to live into my vulnerability so I can let people know that the mistakes that I've made that have pushed people away from me that never may come back, I want them to know that I'm working on myself in such a way that I want them to hear my heart. Now, we've said this, you and I say this all the time. We want to speak in a language where the tone of my heart matches the tone of my voice. Sometimes the tone of my voice doesn't match the tone of my heart. So I got to keep being gentle with myself so someone else can see how vulnerable I am and how sincere I am, and I'm offering those forgiveness.
I want to add another point of this is, when I look at myself, I multiply by other people, right? Every messed up, boneheaded decision I made was not directly because of somebody else. It was me. I was the mastermind behind my own demise.
Yeah.
Right? So when I look at other people who make a mistake, like cheating on me, they're not doing that to say, oh, I'm going to cheat on Peanut, right? That's a decision they personally want to make with their body, with another individual that is not directly tied to me. So when I remove myself from their decision making, I'm not mad when they make a decision based off their needs or their goals or what they want to do.
Right.
So the surprise aspect, or the fact that people feel that they have ownership over people, is the part where they want to hit and put their hands on people and be like that, because you feel like you own this person. And that's not where I'm at in where I am. And I think that's because of the way I was raised. My mother does not tolerate it. She's not with my dad today because of it. He hit her one time. And my dad's a great guy. One time is all it took, and she'd rather somebody cuss her up and down the street rather than put their hands on her. And she, okay, you can say what you want to, whatever, but she's not going to tolerate that. I will not either. At all. The first time she do it, I'm done.
I agree. I mean, I know what you're saying. Those are your principles that you lived on. But I like when I do these podcasts, right? I'm not talking about what I would do.
We know that, but we
Of course not.
But
I'm saying though,
Yeah.
but I think sometimes what you might do, bro, is you start, like, I don't consider you to be an average person.
Agreed.
All right? And so just because you think at a higher frequency, you can't start acting like what you do is the
norm.
average
the
and
norm.
the norm.
Yeah.
So you can't use yourself as an example of this illustration and topic that we're talking about. What's up with some of that shaking, bro?
For sure.
Okay,
For sure.
so we want to thank y'all for watching. We're gonna,
Oh, yeah, come on.
We're going to cut and splice some of these and make them real fancy, and I think once a month we should have an opportunity. I think you should get Reverend Deb on there. Reverend Deb is
I want Reverend Deb
Oh,
to
for
come
get
sure.
Reverend Deb
immediately.
For
next
sure.
month
What's up?
to begin to have some real kind of conversations that really will kind of not just generate some emotions, but also generate some liberation at the same time.
Absolutely.
So God bless you. We'll see you next month.
Thank you so much.
Godcast,
And
man.
listen,
Godcast Kings right here.
I want to say thank you so much, man. You've been very, very gracious.
I got it.
You know what I'm saying? I got communion. I asked for it, and he supplied, man.
Ask and deliver.
Won't he do it?
Good one. Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
This one is a ciabatta. What's left here is a German rye, and this is a French baguette.
Yes, I'll take this.
Okay. Here, let's do this. You pick it up, then you're touching and not me, but I use some hand sanitizer.
Thank you so much.
There you go. All
I'll be
right.
beyond grateful. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, enjoy. It's good to be here.
Yes, it is. I love this.